Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited you could join us for today's special presentation of Spring into Leasing Success, How to Maximize Your Marketing ROI with AI-Powered Reputation Management, hosted by your friends here at Grace Hill. So as you're joining, welcome, welcome. Today we are talking about all things leasing teams need to engage prospective renters and drive those qualified leads to their communities. Our experts will answer some tough ORM questions today. And as a marketing manager myself, I'm telling you, I'm ready to geek out with you all as well. So as you're joining, I see everyone coming in. Drop us a note in the chat with the city and state where you're tuning in from. Let's also see all those Grace Hill customers tuning in. Let's see a heart in the chat today. You might even feel like adding a thumbs up if you are a marketing pro joining us. We also invite you to send any question you have today during today's session through our Q&A box in your Zoom webinar panel. Our presenters will have some time at the end to answer them, so please feel free to do so. As you may know, attending this webinar gains you one free entry into our upcoming drawing for customized coaching and consulting services with Sue Geyer, owner and operator of Thrive for Success Consulting. Having worked with Sue, I can tell you this prize is a great opportunity for any developing professional or perhaps even for your small team. A $10,000 value, our winner will be announced June 30th, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's get started. I would like to introduce today's experts, starting with Courtney Wesinger, sales specialist and online reputation whiz, our very own Pinterest recipe queen, surf and turf master chef, and Hilton Island head beach bum. Courtney is powered by her playlist and a serious travel bug. Next, we have Jay Thompson, sales leader, Clemson fanatic, and tech aficionado. Jay always has his bone conduction earbuds, questionable Instagram purchases, hello, that boot jack you purchased last week, and karaoke playlist that leads heavily on Michael Bublé. Welcome to you both. Jay, you have to tell us about these headphones.
I know. Well, I am a sucker for Instagram purchases late at night, but I mean, I live in the city. You walk the dog, you got to make sure that you can still hear the music, but hear what else is going on around you. So, I will say they've lived up to the hype. So, and I will also say, Courtney, I'm a little upset that I have not gotten a dinner invite yet for Surf and Turf Master Chef. We're gonna have to remedy that, but I do want to know, Miss Serious Travel Bug, where's your next travel plans to?
Well, Grace Hill has me traveling so much for work right now that I'm going to be going to the beautiful Huntington Beach here soon.
Okay,
So I will be at AIM.
definitely worst places. And yeah, so AIM, if you're going to be at AIM, reach out to Courtney. Our team's going to be there. We would love to schedule some time with you. It is a phenomenal conference. But
Looking forward to it.
as we get started, first we want to hear from you all, and we want to kick off a poll. So obviously we're here to talk about reputation management, specifically online reputation management. So what does that mean for your company? Specifically, kind of what is that strategy around it? So we'll give you a couple seconds here just to answer that question. All right. Perfect. We give you just a couple more seconds. I'll play Kayla. We'll give you a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. And then if we can go ahead and share the results of that.
You should be seeing the results on your screen.
Yeah, awesome. So no surprise there. Reviews obviously always come top of mind when we're talking about online reputation management. But kudos also to those. Notice this was multiple choice. You could select more than one. So kudos to those that were doing listing and social. Because definitely as we begin to talk about these things, well, reviews always take kind of forefront of mind. The fact is when we're talking about that overall reputation management strategy, You would absolutely be remiss not to say that listing and socials are going to be an important part of that. That's kind of that total package, if you will. So really quickly, again, I know that there are a lot of people right now that probably, again, you've got a reputation management strategy that you are using today, and it's probably not a new topic for many of you. However, I would also venture to say that there are probably some people on the call that you're just starting that strategy, right? You're just maybe starting a process, you're looking into what it means. So I kind of preach into the choir if you've got kind of an established process, but I definitely want to take a moment to talk about what reputation is. So reputation managing is a strategic process, right? That is specifically meant for three things. Number one, it's meant to monitor. So what is your reputation out there within the community, the clientele that you serve? So it's to monitor. Number two, it's to influence. It's to ensure that you also have a say in that reputation, that you have a way to direct and guide it. And then finally, it's a process to maintain that positive public image of your company or your brand. What I love about online reputation management is when you think about reviews, right? And we've all used them. That boot jack that I bought was 100% an Instagram, and then I went and read reviews and everybody raved about it, and I was like, here we go, I'm gonna get it. But you know, a lot of times with reviews, it's a one flow in direction, right? It's from the consumer or from your resident or prospect out to the world, and it 100% shapes and builds kind of their perception. Online reputation management, or just reputation management in general, is meant to change that flow of directional information. So it's not just from your clients, your prospects, your customers, but it's also from your company being able to get out in that space. So think for just a minute, Courtney, I'm going to ask you, when you think of brands that just have a phenomenal reputation, who comes to mind?
Apple, that's the first one.
Okay.
Right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. So Apple's one, right? Phenomenal. Doesn't mean that Apple doesn't have negative reviews or doesn't have some people that doubt it. Absolutely not, right? We know there are definitely Android users out there who are very much team Android, but definitely that perception. I automatically think of people such as Target and Starbucks, again, who have definitely weathered some bad press, but continually have a high trusted image. The good news about reputation management is it is shaped. And like we said, it doesn't have to be a one-way flow. It can certainly be a flow from you all. And the bottom line, it is really meant to develop trust and loyalty in your brand. You know, for example, if I'm a leasing professional and I used to be on your side of the ball game, and let's say I was a leasing professional and Kayla came in for a tour, man, I rocked that tour. We were closing throughout. She got really busy and said, hey, I'm going to come back tomorrow and fill out the application. Great. And then Kayla goes home and she reads reviews. And what if my reviews aren't stellar, or I've not had a chance to offer a response to it? Kayla may not show up, and I'm going to sit there and go, where's Kayla? I thought it all worked. So how do we make sure that, again, that we are effectively not only monitoring, but we are influencing and helping to maintain? And really the proof is in the pudding, right? So why does it work? And again, I know I'm preaching to some of the choir here. We know, and 90% of people are going to look at reviews. We all do it, right? I was with Courtney last week. We were in Napa for the social media summit. We were trying to figure out where to go for dinner. We were all looking at reviews. Now, we'll tell a little bit story about that in a little bit, because each one of us kind of used a different way to get there, which is really an important part of reputation. Are you looking at those multi-channel approaches? But here's some really interesting things. 87% of people bypass a star rating and just read the detailed review. They don't care about the 3 stars, the 4 stars. They want to know the context of what was in it. 47% expect to see a response to all your online reviews. So I know that's one of the things Courtney is going to challenge you with, but what is that focus for you all? We do know that Google's a main driver. Did you know, though, for Gen Z, Instagram is their #2 spot for information? I'm a Yelp guy, 100%. Maybe I'm showing my age with that, Courtney. I don't know.
I
But
use
I'm a
Yelp.
Yelp
I use
guy.
Yelp.
So are you responding on all those? And then finally, 80% check social media before signing a lease. So we're going to talk about all those things today. Last little bit before I'm going to bring in my reputation whiz, Courtney here. I just wanted to give you an outline. When I think of the tools that in reputation management, your tech stack, when we're thinking about reputation management, what it should provide for you, this is a baseline of those things. It should 100% have a centralized dashboard. You should be able to see all the chatter about you in one location. If you're having to go out and source it into a Google and then to a Facebook and a Yelp, chances are, number one, it's not an efficient use of your time. And I know most days in property management are absolutely hair on fire. So there's usually not enough hours in the day to do it. But number two, you're probably going to miss one of them, right? Benchmarking. It should have something that not only can you benchmark your internal self against, but what about your competitors, the people that you were directly competing with? We know 2024 was a banner year for delivery of units within the US. 2025, again, is sharing its own challenges. So do you have benchmarking from a competitive but an internal? Of course, you want the ability to respond to reviews. That should be 100% a baseline. But these last three are really important. AI functionality. I'm going to say it, probably not a popular opinion, but every ORM tool has reporting capability. So 100%, if you're like, well, I want to make sure I have access to data, every one of them are going to provide some level of data. But what I'm seeing, particularly in the wave of the future, again, things are so busy and hectic to comb through that data. A lot of time, either we just don't always have sophisticated enough systems, or number two, we don't have the time. Do you have AI functionality that increases your efficiency and helps you derive data-driven, actionable insights at the snap of a finger? Social media monitoring, like we said, it's an important part. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. And then finally, listings management. You know, when we think of online reputation, that's going to flow into your optimization as well. So whether you're doing GEO or SEO type of targeting, that listing management is going to be a crucial part of that as well. All right, Courtney, they're tired of hearing me talk. I have no doubt. So let's talk a little bit. I'd love to get your expertise on this. So, you know, one of the things that I'm hearing a lot from clients and just from colleagues in multifamily is that 2025 continues to kind of be a year of financial uncertainty. I just got an email today about all the kind of things right now that are, you know, transpiring that still kind of make 2025 a little up in the air. Inevitably, having been on that side, when we worry about the financial and what that end cash flow is going to be to our investors or owners, it usually means that companies have to tighten the belt. For lack of a better term, they've got to trim the fat. And I am sure many of our attendees can attest that marketing all too often can sometimes end up on that list. So can you talk a little bit about why you feel online reputation management cannot and should not be a line item that's up for discussion in a budget cut?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, I think that Jay and I, you're going to hear Napa frequently as we talk through these questions, but we had such great dialogue last week in Napa that I just have to highlight some of it. So one phrase that I heard one of the marketing directors say is prove it, right? So we have to prove that this reputation management solution is working. To Jay's point, they all do have the data that you need with reporting functions. The key is how are we going to be able to deliver that to them, right? So let's utilize and leverage that reporting and make sure it has all of the right information, right? So when we get into demo here, we're going to show you what we find to be the backbone of our platform. And we challenge you to say, hey, is this something that our current platform has? Or if we're exploring another platform, does that have it as well, right? So we'll get into those 5 key areas to what we believe are going to be what drives your reporting to give the data. And to really answer that question, Jay, is a good reputation management system has to provide visibility. So we're going to be providing you visibility and then giving you a framework that allows you to really figure out where our gaps are. So yes, we have to keep reputation in the budget or consider it to be added to the budget, but we do have to prove it. And we'll definitely get into a lot of that great content in our demo.
I love it. For sure, ROI is always going to be a name of the game when we're talking about.
Yes.
So second question for you. kind of an obvious, right? But again, when we think about online reputation, and we saw it in our poll, right? 100% of the people said reviews. So we know a lot of time that's where it usually starts. Can you tell me what are some strategies? Well, let me back up. I hear it all the time again when I'm in a demo. We need more reviews, but specifically, we
Yeah.
need more positive reviews.
Yeah.
And so, do you have strategies on the best way to kind of ramp up those reviews, particularly the good ones? But also, can you talk a little bit about the value of the negative review?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to sound simple and maybe too simple, but just responding to reviews, I think that that's step one, right? The second part of that is understanding our tech stack and what's truly important. While we are going to show you how to truly maximize your online reputation platform, or how to consider one in that demo later, what we do really have to look at is it the only thing that we need? So here at Grace Hill, we have amazing products. One being our Kingsley survey that pairs so beautifully with our online reputation platform. And what we have to think about is the before and the after. So before is going to be that Kingsley survey, right? We're getting the resident feedback, everything that we need to get ahead of something. Well, the world is not a perfect place, right? So we are going to have things fall through those cracks. What online reputation management is going to give you the opportunity to do is the after. We're going to now get after something. And that's where we kind of pair into that negative review piece, which is we can capitalize on those negative reviews. This is our second chance. First impression, that's no problem. We're going to capitalize on this and figure out a way to utilize it to really leverage it as a way to move forward. We know 56% of people change their mind on a company based on how they respond to reviews. So this is our second chance, and this is a way for us also to show truly who we are with prospects and residents to be. So easy ways to garner positive reviews, just continue to respond to all of your reviews. That's going to create some positive feedback. Make sure we have the appropriate pieces in our tech stack. And then those benefits of the negative reviews is we have an opportunity here to really change sentiment.
Yeah, I think we've all been taught, or I hope we have, that failure is just a learning process, right? So, and I will tell you, I also like to travel and I like to stay in Airbnbs. I specifically look for the reviews that are not positive because I want to see the response of the host. We're all human. Things are going to happen inevitably. I want to know what happens when things don't go as planned. So that is a great strategy there. So, next up, I know again we had a chance to attend the Multifamily Social Media Summit. It was wonderful. The education was absolutely top notch. There were a lot of great sessions, and if you were not there, I can tell you the two most obvious things that came out was AI is here to stay. So get ready to wrap your arms around it and figure out the best way. And then social media, obviously, were very hot
Mhm.
topics. Where do you think, or what are some of your social media tips when you're considering an overall kind of reputation management strategy, or what's an area that you think that people should really look at and focus on?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that you teed me up by talking about Napa a little bit more, but really the constant themes there are going to be AI and authenticity. So when we think about social media, and let's just say right now we're gonna talk about maximization. So when we want to maximize our budget, what if we currently are outsourcing social media? Do we have the ability to bring that in? Well, with AI, we do. And this is a reason why, beyond bringing it in and maximizing that budget, it's important. It's because AI is learning your sentiment. AI is learning who you are. And we know that no one knows yourself better than you. Well, now AI is going to know you just as well. So AI is going to help you develop those social posts. They're going to help you create that authenticity and continue to focus on the brand that has already been created. So as far as tips for social media, we really have to start thinking about how we use AI and social. And that's also a way that we can maximize time and maximize our budget. So, as far as strategies, we have to create that authenticity, and AI is a perfect place to do it because they are learning us probably better than we're learning ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. And I would say for those that are listening, I think when you hear the word AI and authenticity, you often think that they're kind of maybe at odds with each other. So it's
Yes, yeah.
probably a great webinar topic for another time because there's a lot to deep dive there, right? But the fact is, AI can become a true authentic tool for you. As Courtney says, it does learn you. It learns your sentiment. It learns your brand language. It understands. And so that really can be leveraged. So phenomenal. And again, for our Grace Home Marketing people on, that may be a great deep dive to
Yeah,
get into next. All right.
yep, plug there.
Just a couple more here, and then obviously we want to let you get in and show some tangible ways to do this. But each property obviously has a unique set of strengths. It also has a unique set of challenges and or opportunities, if you will. But in
Yeah.
general, can you tell us, so what does our data say that prospects consider when they're looking for their apartment home?
Yeah, so this one is a great question to really think about, because when I think about data and what that suggests, I think about like our reports that we have sent out that our residents want stainless steel appliances, or they want a gym. They want certain amenities, and I think that's what we look for to help move the needle. Well, we're in 2025, and realistically, most of those communities that we're competing against have all of those same things. So, well, again, we've not only just learned last week, let's go beyond that, right? What we've learned over the last year is people want a place to call home. So, when I was looking to purchase my first home, what was important was a safe community, one where we had a quiet neighborhood because we knew we were going to be raising kids. Residents think about exactly what they need in the same way. So, what we have to do as marketers is create a place that they can envision themselves living. And one of the workshops that we did last week is say, hey, this is a pet friendly community, right? Let's pretend we're at a pet friendly community and that we're going to write a blog on how your dog sees this community because there's a dog park so close. That dog owner is now envisioning themselves living there and having their dog be just as happy as they are. So we have to think about what they want in the offering that we can have, right? So we're going to be able to create that sense of community, create and understand our demographics, and really build upon that campaign. So, regardless if data suggests that we need stainless steel appliances, what we learned is that what they want to see is a place to call home.
Completely agree with you. As a dog owner and lover myself, you spoke to my heart. I would even challenge those of you that are listening. How many of you asked for pets to come on a tour? Way back when I was a leasing professional, we 100% asked, hey, you have a dog? Great. Why don't you bring him with you? See the community. Because again, those are ways. I know there's a lot more tips and tricks that we heard about there, that kind of user generated perspective is super exciting and impactful. Last question I've got for you, and then I'm going to turn it over. So,
Yep.
to kind of steal from Shakespeare, excuse me, to consolidate or not to consolidate, that's the question. So we hear a lot, hey, do I piece out my tech stack? Do I consolidate it together? Kind of overall, what are your general thoughts on that? Are there any drawbacks to it, etc.?
Yeah, I always knew you were a wordsmith, Jay. So thank you for setting that up. But consolidation, I think we can think about it in a few different ways. So consolidation in the way that we'll talk about maximizing our budget, right? So consolidating our tech stack so it meets our budget. Yes, there's a lot of things that we can do inside of our reputation management platform that would allow us to consider eliminating in a tech stack, right? And I'm going to tell you a story that you won't tell my husband because he's going to freak out when I tell you about this exercise. So I wrote down all of the different streaming platforms I have because I am a movie buff. I love a good TV show. And I am definitely just like you on Instagram. I am just adding and purchasing all of those platforms. I had 13. If you want to guess how many that I used, three. I used three out of the 13. So I think when we think about marketing, is are we just adding some pieces that we believe we're going to use to its full capability? And then are we just using them kind of lackluster? Can we then maybe put some of that into a reputation management platform right? We're going to explore all the things that it can do. So we can think about consolidating in that way. And there's really not any drawbacks as long as we're maximizing our time and our budget. Now, if we think about consolidation in the way of, can my reputation management platform do everything? Well, we also have to go back to a previous question of, is our tech stack paired with the appropriate components? So understanding what your online reputation platform is capable of doing is first step, right? And the drawbacks to what you're doing now will speak for themselves. It just has to truly align with what your initiatives are for 2025 and what you want to accomplish. That will allow you to see if there will be any drawbacks and what you can truly consolidate to that platform, or if you can consolidate your tech stack.
That's awesome. All right. Well, enough of just you and I banter, although we hope that you definitely got something out of it. Finally, I was just hoping, Courtney, that you could take a chance to share kind of hands-on, obviously within our platform, but what are those ways that we're using to engage prospects using that solution?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am going to take over, Jay. I think you're ready to let the reins, right? You're gonna ready.
You can take it over.
Okay. Well, as I set this up and I start to share my screen, and I'll wait for Jay to give me the thumbs up that you all are seeing the same screen. But what we're going to do here is, this entire webinar is based upon, we want to make sure we're giving you tips and tricks. While we are going to give you tips and tricks of how to use our platform, these are also questions you can ask yourself for your current platform or anything that you're considering. We are also going to talk about AI, right? We've already talked about it before, and all the AI functionality that we have. And again, challenge yourself to ask if your current platform has that, or if what you're considering has it. And then lastly, again, we're going to talk about maximization. How can we create some efficiencies, save some time, or maximize time and maximize budget? So, Jay, you gave the thumbs up, right? You see everything?
We are good to go.
Awesome. Well, to start here, this is our home screen. So our home screen, we call it the snapshot, and that is going to already give us what we've talked about, right? Where we've talked about AI. So this icon here is our Pulse AI icon. What that's going to notate is that the information that we're given here has been derived from AI. Our newest feature is our risky reviews feature. So we call it risk monitoring. And what that's doing is telling you, in the last 30 days, we have saw 2 reviews that are something that needs to be answered right away. We'll then break those into 6 different buckets, which we will show you when we highlight AI a little bit later. And we'll give you specific areas of what they would fall into and how to improve. This next piece here, it's going to be customer likes and customer dislikes. So AI is going over our entire portfolio of 16 properties, and they are summarizing for us what our customers like and what our customers don't like. So we can already see friendly and helpful management and maintenance staff. But on the flip side, lengthy wait times for service have led to customer frustration. So we are getting really the good and the bad, and we can get that just all the way up to the top here. So if you want to dive in there and get a little bit more granular, this is where a good solution for everybody in the multifamily space would be to start thinking about specific properties or specific markets. We had a lot of discussion last week about how certain markets right now are just way harder than others, and you have to be extremely competitive. Allowing yourself to dive into specific markets or specific communities is going to help you get the data that you need to, again, create that visibility and create a framework. So I will briefly just scan through here because it is very straightforward information. We're going to give you the reviews over the last 30 days, some search analytic. So how many appearances have you made in the last 30 days? Listings, and then rankings, right? So where are you ranking at on Google? We'll show you a wonderful map of sunny California here that will show you those areas and where you're at. It'll tell you the property, it will tell you the average rating, and then the reviews that in fact back it. So All pretty straightforward information. We'll show you the positive reviews. We will show you a list of the negative reviews. And then lastly, we will report to our backbone, right? We already mentioned this a little bit, our LBV score. So all good online reputation management systems, in fact, have a scoring system. Ours is our LBV score. We create that on 5 key areas that we find to be the most important parts of reputation. Those are going to be the 2 we've already talked about, right? So reviews and social. But we also find listings accuracy to be extremely important. We have to have consistent information, right? People have to know where to find us, have to have the right phone number, etc. That SEO component, where are we coming up at on Google? We know right now Google is in fact just that's where we are saw the most. I would say that is pretty consistent, even though Yelp is up and coming. Google is really the word of truth right now. And then lastly, our competitors, competitive analysis. Do you have access to understand where your competitors stand on things like social reviews and beyond with your current platform? Or are you exploring one that has that? So we'll dive into that a little bit more. And we'll also give you a little bit more of an overview on what this score is and how we get there. But we're going to skip over this AI portion and we're going to end with it because it really is the cherry on top of this demo and with this quick look in. So we're going to get into reputation. And I'll go to summary quick because this is our first true look at competitor detail. I will go into, let's just do the last 3 months so we can get a little bit more of an accurate look into. So here's our competitors, right? Here we are. And over the last 3 months, we have improved over time, right? So we're trending in the direction we want to. However, our competitors are still above us. We're going to dial in a little bit more and help you understand that review response rate. So while we are responding to our reviews better than our competitors, they have a lot less 1-star reviews. So those are all things to consider when we think about competitors. So wanted to quickly highlight that because we already talked about competitive analysis. But we are going to jump into reviews, and this is really where we start talking about tips and tricks and maximization. Yelp, right? We already talked about Yelp, up and coming. Yelp is an integration I would definitely consider for any ORM that you are looking at. Yelp now currently traffics over 150 million people every month. So while people think about Yelp for restaurants and hospitality, right? We already talked about fighting in Napa about where to go to eat. Yelp is also a place where our residents go. So I have my own workshop for you, and I'm going to challenge you. Take one of your current communities, look at their rating on Google, and then compare it to their rating on Yelp and just see what that looks like to see if it's consistent. So we see Yelp here, but we're going to get into review response. So I want to look at Google, right? We all want to see Google, what's being said on Google. So we're going to filter there. And while in demo right now, we already have had a lot of responses. Let's try and find a response. That's a good response, right? So this is a 5-star review, but there's not a response. So let's go out a little bit further. And we're going to find a Google response that we can respond to here. All right, so Leandro, we're going to respond again, and we're going to show you how AI is going to pick up the sentiment of his review. So the leasing office team are outstanding. They provide to me and my wife an incredible support during the application. Great. I mean, they're simply the best, right? They make us feel really special. Awesome. So we're going to have AI respond to that. And let's see what they come up with. So thank you, Leandro, for your kind words. We're thrilled to hear that our leasing team made your application process smooth and special. If you need anything else, feel free to reach out. Now, you can look at that and say, yes, that's exactly how I would feel I could respond. And if that's the case, you are maximizing your time. You can allow your teams, if they're currently outsourcing this, to maybe bring it in because we are creating some quick efficiencies to where, yes, it's going to be more cost effective to use AI in platform. And it's also going to be it's still going to be time effective too. Now, let's just say for the sake of finding some other tips and tricks, we don't want that response. but we already have some pre-crafted responses of our own, right? Because we have an awesome all-star team. What we can do here is we're going to put all of these responses in a templated system. And we can add as many templates as necessary in positive. We can also add those negative, and we can add neutral. So we'll just add a whole bunch of those in there, and we're going to be able to use them. And I'll show you, we're going to click out of Google, how we can respond to multiple reviews all at the same time. So let's go back up here, and we're going to filter, and we're going to look here at some of these filters. And we're going to filter by 4 and 5-star review. So once we have those, we found 27 4 and 5-star reviews, and we want to respond to them all at the same time. We know we have to bring this back in-house, but we don't have time to respond to these reviews. Let's respond to them all at the same time. And what we're able to do here is select multiple templates, as many as necessary. Our platform is going to round robin through them, pick up their names, pick up the sentiment, and then keep that authenticity as well, right? We are the ones that wrote these templates, and we can also respond to all 27 reviews at the same time. All we have to do now is press publish. So right there, we've created a really nice way that our teams can do this in-house, and then we can always use it in one platform, creating and maximizing, right? So we're creating efficiencies and we're maximizing all of the areas of our budget and our time. All right, so the next component, we already talked about this a little bit, is our social component, right? I know Jay's looking at me. He's like, we talked about social nonstop last week. So he is, hopefully this is the last time for the week, but no, just a little bit of fun. But this publish section, right, in our social component, this is our calendar. So if we have a team and we're like, hey, we're gonna keep this in-house, we are just going to make sure that our initiative this year is to continue to post to social. We're gonna continue to do it, but we're also gonna elevate it a little bit. We're going to schedule these posts to go out, and we're able to set up workflow systems to where managers can then approve maybe at the site level, or we can approve at a corporate level as well. So this is going to be our scheduling tool. Once we have and we see all of the schedules, we're going to go in and create another post. Now, Jay, I think you had, I think we talked yesterday in one of our meetings that Instagram, did you say Instagram was the second highly trafficked site for reviews? Tell me a little more about that.
Well, yeah. So what we've seen right now is for that age group, kind of 18 to 39, Google still continues to be dominating. Google Maps. Then ironically, it's Facebook. So, but when we look at Gen Z, they're still hitting Google currently. But when I tell you it's literally separated by 3 percentage points, closely behind it is Instagram. And while Instagram obviously is not necessarily capturing the reviews, what it is capturing is the essence of who you are and the feedback that people are giving to that engagement. So those Gen Zers are not just looking for you there, they're going on Instagram and going, I really want to know what happens. And I want to know the dialogue and the tagged pictures, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that also builds into how we start creating that community, because I would say that's a huge demographic of who's looking to rent, right? So we do have the capabilities to post to Instagram and Facebook in the platform. So again, if you're considering a platform or currently have one, make sure it has Facebook and Instagram, because right now in the multifamily space, those are by far the most pertinent, right? Those are definitely the most trafficked. So again, we're going to talk about maximizing our time. We can post to Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So we're going to click both of those. They're going to go to both of those platforms. And let's do an AI generated response. Jay, what's our next holiday we have coming up? Is that Easter?
Pretty sure Easter's coming up next. So
okay, well, let's do this. We're gonna say Happy Easter. And let's have an Easter egg hunt. All right, let's see what AI thinks. All right, happy Easter, everyone. What better way to celebrate this joyful day than with an exciting Easter egg hunt? Gather your friends and family, grab your baskets, and get ready to search for hidden treasures. Right? So already I like it. We've already put in some of those icons. And sometimes even once we start learning, right? So once AI starts learning who you are, they'll start developing hashtags too. So a lot of posts will do that. This is our message. And for today, we absolutely love this message. And this is what our teams are going to post. Now, we know at the site level, if you're posting at a site level, you might want to add in times and places and all of that. So you can definitely put in plugs with inside of that. But we're going to post that for today. We're going to generate, add, and then once we have that, we can add images. Maybe we want to put our leasing teams on that post, right? They've already placed some of the eggs. They've already started decorating for the event. We're going to do fun images. And then we're also going to maybe ask the residents for images while they're doing their Easter egg hunt. We're going to add that to the schedule because we are scheduled people maximizing our time. And then lastly, we are going to do our quick review. We don't want to post anything before we do our spell check, so to speak. So we're looking through here. And I like it enough. We're gonna publish now. So those are kind of those tips and tricks. And again, this is what our platform does, but just challenge yourself to ask, hey, is that what we're getting right now? Do we have these capabilities and what we're looking for in the tool we currently have?
Hey, Courtney, can I interject one thing? Little tidbit
Absolutely.
and an extra kind of nugget for you all. I will not claim that this is our idea. We did steal this from an educational session at Social Media Summit, but they talked a lot again about that curated content or being authentic authentic in what you're posting. So some other posts that you can think about too, if you've got people that work from home, ask them to create a video of the day in their life,
Yeah.
of what it looks like from waking up in the morning to maybe going to one of your community spaces, walking to their favorite coffee shop prior to getting into it, going to the gym at the end of the day. Ask them to do that. You can use this AI generator, pair it with that user generated content. And that is the community that Courtney was talking about when people said, we want to
Yes.
create a sense of community. Because then people go, that can be my life. That is it. You got a pet mom, pet dad who's fanatical, pet point of view, right? Or so those are just great ways when we talk about, whether or not it should be curated versus more these authentic posts. The statistics behind user generated content and the way people engage with it are just phenomenal. And Courtney and I were talking right before this. It's not about the quantity of you posting, it's really about the quality. If they're not engaging in it, if your brand is not being recognized, a simple post doesn't cut it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's all about the content of it, right? That what you're saying, people are more, even with reviews, people are going to look at the details of that review, not necessarily the star. So that's also something to think about. So we will quickly, and I don't like to spend a lot of time here, but I do like to highlight it because it is important to what we talked about and how we see competitors. We have the capability here to select every single property and give each property a unique set of competitors. So this is where we are continuing to make sure that we have relevant content, right? So all of the data that we're deriving, all of the data that we're providing to our teams and maybe board members are here. And this is all going to be generated by the platform, but you have the ability to go in here and put up to 5 competitors in your space by property. So this is your ability to make sure everything is truly where you want it to be. And we all know that there's always up and coming competitors, new acquisitions in our space. So wanted to put forth that before we head into reports. So Jay definitely said, yes, every good reputation platform has some type of reporting. I also said that every good reputation platform has some type of score. Well, ours is that LBV score. So what I told you I was going to do here is really break it down for you. So that 47 is out of 100. So that's going to be our score. That's not a great score. And I think that you saw there on that snapshot that it was red. That's not where we want to be. Really, for context, we want to be a 70 or above. That means that we are competing well in our markets, that we believe what is online is really good. If it's 80 or above, that means we're really crushing it in our markets. Our online presence is great. And at this point, we're just fine tuning. But today, we're not there. What we see is that social is definitely an area that we need to look at, and even more our SEO. So what we're doing again is creating that visibility so we can then create a framework to execute. SEO is something that maybe we say, hey, we might have to place more ad spend there, or we have to really do some fine tuning. And then social, that's a little bit easier. Let's use that scheduling tool. Let's continue to post. Let's make sure we're continuing to generate relevant, good content, which AI is going to help you to do because AI knows you now just as well as you know yourself. Well, hopefully not just as well, but still very well. So that's one of the reports that we always tell our clients to use first. But again, we have lots of great reports, and other things to think about is customization. So when you look at a reputation platform, can it be customized for what you want to see? We have the ability to look at customization and create custom reports. So also things to think about. But we are now getting to the very end, which is our Pulse AI. And Jay, this is the question you used yesterday. What question do you want to ask AI today?
Oh, let's go with how do my residents perceive package delivery options? Let's see if there's any things out there about that.
Let's see if AI has anything to say about that.
I threw you a curveball, though. I know you're in a limited demo site, so we'll see if
We'll see. The one that you threw at me yesterday, we had a response. Oh, look at that. It has a response. So currently no data is available on resident perceptions of package delivery options, as there's no social posts or reviews. So we at least get some context there, but we can ask this almost anything. So
how do residents feel about my curb appeal? Let's do that one.
Yeah.
You first drive by and you gotta like what you're seeing, right? You eat with your eyes is what they always say first. So
Very true. Let's see if AI is going to pick up your slang, your curb appeal. But as it starts to think, so we're just going to ask about the clubhouse. So
I will preface for those that are doing this, this is a very limited demo site. It's 16 kind of fake pages. So please know that I threw Courtney some curveballs there.
What's to say about experience, right? They have to have an experience. They left a review about experience. But as they start to think, right? So we'll forego that. But what we will do is in reviews, what we'll see is that we're going to break it down by reviews. We're going to collect it from all of the reviews that have been posted or really taken into our platform. And the platform will tell you this is exactly how they feel, right? You saw it on the snapshot page that AI is taking all of the reviews and they're really summarizing it. Beyond that, we are also going to take that from social. Again, we are in demo site, so we don't have any social profile attached to it, but we will have the capabilities to pull in that sentiment from social as well. So,
and I think just so you know, our page filter, we're only set for about 3 months. That may be
that's why.
part of our option as well. So,
okay, well, let's try this again.
There you
All right,
go.
they have varied experiences with the community and facilities. So we can read through that. But again, we're going to conduct those from reviews, from social posts, and they're going to give you just the high level views of maybe where to begin. Again, we're going to go back to creating visibility and creating a framework. But for risk monitoring, and we're going to go through the last year here, so we do have all of the information that you can see. We had 11 risky reviews in the last year, meaning that we let you know that there was a risk out there that needs to be really answered right now. And 8 have been unresponded to. So we'll go down, scroll through and say, what bucket are these in? Where are we at? So customer safety risk, 2 need responded to, and then unfair business practices. That's a big one here. We have to respond to those. So if we go down here, we're gonna create quick routes to catapult you right in. We know property 11 has 3 of those risky reviews. If we do click right here, we're gonna be catapulted right back to our review section. So we're gonna be able to respond to a review right there. And then next is sentiment. So sentiment is one of my most favorite, and Jay knows that I love to click on this wheel of words. And we're gonna do a quick summary of what our positive topics are and what our negative topics are. And the best part about this is it's all in question, right? So pool, that's pretty straightforward. Everybody likes a good pool, right? Now we think about staff, people, that's always the one that gets me. All right, that's negative. What does that mean? What about people is negative? Well, our Explorer feature is going to allow you to really understand all of those words and how we're able to digest them. So again, people, we're going to think about it. We're going to click into it. And these are the words that have been picked up with AI. So good, homeless, and desperate. So first here, so sometimes homeless people are walking around the building. And one time I was chased by a homeless guy not far from the building. So hopefully that's nobody's building here, but that's not a good sentiment, right? We don't want that. And we can continue to go through, right? So it seems that his mission there is to build a prison with strict rules instead of just letting people have a good stay. So now we can really start diving into some of those words and getting true context behind them. And we'll go through and we see exactly what property it's at, where it's at, and we can catapult in there. So great way to explore it, and it's a very fun feature that I love exploring. And then lastly is the your topics piece, right? So if you don't see a specific topic that, hey, this is what we're trying to understand from. And again, right, we had a lot of different surveys that were sent out, industry wide about what do residents really want. Amenities are always something that comes up there. So if you want to create a category that says amenities, and then you can create and put your own words in there, and then AI is going to look for those words or like words in those reviews, in those social posts, and they're going to collect it for you. So that's a pretty good one. Again, so we have to think about reputation management and customization. Does your reputation management platform currently fit your strategy and your initiatives for this year? So with that, Jay, that is the cherry on top of the sundae, and I am going to hand it back over to you.
Awesome. I do love it. I think you hit those things. Monitor, influence, maintain. We can see all of those. Great way to be able to continually effectively manage your reputation. So with that said, I'm going to turn it back over to the famous MC Kayla.
You talked me up too much. That was really great information, you guys. Thank you so much. I know that our multifamily leasing pros and teams that are on the call also appreciate that. We did have a few questions come through during the presentation. If you still have questions, you still have time to put them in the Q&A box in your Zoom webinar panel. So for the first question, can I choose the reviews that I want to push to the review sites? I know it's a common one.
Yeah, so
I know this is one of your favorites.
Yeah, so I think that this is a question that comes up almost, I would say weekly, if not more than that. But yeah, we in a realistic world, right? We always want to have the most positive things said about our companies, us as people. But we also have to, again, think back to that context of how we can capitalize on those negative reviews. But one thing to think about, which came out last year, was that FTC ruling, which really discussed review gating and the importance of really being as authentic as we can too on the review side. So while we would love to only allow everyone to push those good reviews, we do have to allow organically the other reviews to come through. So yeah, so we are unable to do that, but with good reason and good intent behind it.
Great. We've got a couple more here. Megan wrote in with two. So Megan asked, can you schedule an Instagram story and can you post to multiple properties on social media?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So Jay, I will refer to you on the Instagram story because you are the Instagram king today.
So today you cannot post to an Instagram story, and it does not mean that you won't. Some of the challenges right now that obviously we want to be able to give you analytics around it, right? We also want you to be able to kind of have that repository because Instagram stories obviously disappear after a certain amount of time. That is some of the challenge of that. Doesn't mean that we are not working to solve that today, but current functionality would be to post to your actual feed.
Yeah,
And the second,
the second part was the right, Kayla, to post to multiple properties.
yes.
Yeah, so yes, we can post to multiple properties. So you saw, and I tried to highlight that as best as I could, that feature where we could filter. But we are going to be bringing in all of your properties platforms. So if your property has a Facebook and an Instagram, we're going to be bringing in all of those profiles for all of your properties. So we can, in fact, post to multiple in there, which makes, again, consolidation one of the perks or the pros of using consolidation. So good question.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan. Is it possible to benchmark against other properties or even my competitors?
Yeah, so that benchmarking system, again, we go back to that LBV score, right? So we're breaking it down into those 5 key categories. We didn't get to show it just for sanctity of time, but the social component also has its own LBV score that you can use. There's a lot of functionality to be able to scale yourself up against competitors. So we have a lot of benchmarking, even just outside of the LBV specific. But also with the LBV, we have it granular into specific areas of the platform.
Very good. And lastly, we have one member of our audience who says, are there any other ideas to recruit reviews from our current residents? Any grassroots kind of marketing there?
So
I'm going
I
to
will
let Jay do this because I know how excited he is for a question like this.
This is definitely one of my favorite areas. It's something we all run, right? So what I would tell you is, and again, this was a big topic at the social media summit, is, we use a term called a SME here, which is subject matter expert. Make your residents a subject matter expert. So again, if somebody's got a dog, you go, Courtney, you have a dog. I see you out the dog park all the time. Bring him in the office for biscuits. Can you write a review on how dog friendly this building has been? Maybe Kayla moved in sight unseen. She got a job offer, moved in, had never seen it before, came in and was like, y'all, I love my new apartment. You'd be like, hey, can you write a review on having to move to a new location and never seen it, and really kind of, the steps that made you feel at ease and that type of deal. If you can make your residents subject matter experts, that Hoppy Easter, somebody comes and was like, this is the greatest event ever. My kid loved it. Be like, I'd love for you to post about what our resident interactions are. So make your residents a SME rather than just saying, hey, can you give me a review? Ask them, can you give me a review about XYZ type of deal?
Yeah, and I'll build upon that too, Jay. I think every interaction is an opportunity for a review,
100%.
right? So, a maintenance transaction, did that maintenance go well? Absolutely. Can you leave me a review? It would definitely help me. Did this leasing experience go well? Awesome. Definitely leave me a review, even if it's virtual leasing, right? We can ask for reviews virtually as well. So I think that maybe we just use every experience, good experience, as an opportunity to leave a review.
Very good. Very good advice. So that's all the questions we have today. If you do think of any after the session, just let us know. If you liked what you heard today and want to speak with Courtney, Jay, and team about your current ORM and leasing goals or challenges, go ahead and drop a star emoji in the chat. Or you could type the word star in the chat now. We will be in touch with you shortly to speak about your specific needs and your goals this spring season. Now, time for a little bit of fun before we depart. You have all been such a great audience today. We are granting you free access to our social media toolkit, courtesy of Grace Hill. As mentioned today, maintaining those strong social presence is essential to building and protecting your online reputation. So this toolkit is designed to help you effectively manage those social channels, craft compelling content, and otherwise navigate the nuances of those online reviews. So access it today by scanning that QR code now on your screen. Join us next time for our upcoming webinar. If you enjoyed today, join us to commemorate April's Fair Housing Month. This session focuses on service and assistance animals as reasonable accommodations under the fair housing laws. Get knowledge and confidence you need to navigate this sensitive topic by joining us on April 24th, and please invite your team.
All right, Kayla, thank you for that. I know that we shared a lot of information today. As Kayla said, we'd love to continue the conversation, strategies around reputation, what solutions best work for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Courtney and I are both on LinkedIn. That is our QR codes right there. So we'd love to be able to join up in that networking as well, and certainly be there. And again, if you have any questions about it, we're here to help for you. And until next time, thank you for attending, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Absolutely.
Thank you all.
Thank you.